Welcome to another Relate Well with Dr. Rick Marks. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope that all is well with you and yours. And as we enter into this holiday season here in the year 2024, a lot of times people let the things in the family, particularly right now because of politics. It's really sad that people allow politics, religion to destroy love. I, I I just see that person is immature. Love accepts people and the differences. Love says we can have these differences politically, religiously, but I love you. And sadly, our nation has got to a place today where if you don't agree with me, I can't love you. And I find that as sad and I find that as very much immature. What I've learned about mature love is that mature love, mature love loves people regardless of who they are and what they believe. We accept the differences. We agree to disagree. Because that to me is the higher way of living. You see, that to me says, look, we can have our differences and still be what we call and relate. Well, we can still be an us. Because I value us over me. When us wins, we both win. And sadly, that's not happening a lot today. And I've seen people online through X or TikTok just rip family, friends, or people, fellow citizens of our country to shreds just because of these differences. It is never who I am. And we move into the holidays. What does a healthy family look like? And we hear a lot about healthy marriages. We hear a lot about, communication, those kind of things. But what does research show and reveal to us are the traits for a healthy family, not marriage, excuse me. And so I got some thoughts for you. Number one, research shows that in healthy families, sorry kids, the adults are in charge. The adults are in charge. Kids aren't in charge in healthy families. The adults are in charge. Mom and dad, all right, even if it's a single parent, mom or dad, they're in charge, not you. You're a kid. But here's the problem. A lot of parents today aren't really in charge because they don't want to be parents. They want to be friends. The greatest mistake you make is being a friend to your child. You can be friends when you're adults because if you try to be friendly to your children, then it's going to inhibit your ability to be parent. Because sometimes when we step into the word parent, we're not going to be real friendly, are we? You got to make the hard decisions. You got to call them out. You got to say, no, you're not going to do that. You go to your room, whatever it is you're doing. Your role is to be a parent. Sadly, research is clear about this. Books have been written about the emotional state of America. Mostly we have emotional children raising children. And these unhealthy, immature adults raising children, they're in charge. But they're not in charge in a mature way. They're in charge in abusive ways or passive aggressive ways. Or they just aren't in charge at all. They do nothing and the kids dictate everything. The kids live alone and on their own and have to make their own decisions. In healthy families, adults are in charge. And what that means is you're engaged. You're aware. You invite your kids to engage with you. You engage with them. You don't expect them to come to you. You go to them. You're the adult. By being in charge, you're interested in the things that they're interested in. You're also interested in the friends they have. You ask questions. Why? All of it conveys love. All of that conveys concern. All of it says you're important to me. And it's important for me to be a good parent to you. Because I have to teach you how to become a healthy, mature adult one day. And so one of the traits of healthy families is that the adults are in charge of the family. Number two, in healthy families, every person has room to be close and apart. Every person has room to be close and apart. Some families are really enmeshed. They always got to be around each other. That creates an emotional dependency that doesn't breed independence. Mature families breed interdependence, but some families are just so dependent on each other. Where do you stop and where do I end? Poor boundaries are there. If you're depressed, I get depressed because I don't know how to be apart from you. Yet the other extreme, some families are too independent. They're too much apart. And so I don't know when you're hurting because we have no real emotional connection because I'm so independent from you and disconnected from you. I don't feel what you feel. It lacks empathy. It lacks a bond. And so you can have families that are too close or too far apart, but healthy families have room to be together and apart. We need time for connection. All right. We need to be able to sit down with our kids like at the day, at each day, and just talk to them, find out how they're doing, hear their hearts. And sometimes, particularly when they're teenagers, they want a little bit of room to be alone, away from you. And that's okay too, because we're developing interdependence, room together and apart, cohabiting side by side. But too much of one or too much of the other is actually unhealthy. Another thing that healthy families understand is that change is necessary, that life is not about everything being the same. If you're spanking a 16-year-old, you haven't changed. You with me? You've got to expect change. Life changes, circumstances change, culture changes. And so we have to be flexible and move along with the changes. And when we're flexible and move with the changes, then we're showing maturity. But some people don't change. They're just rigid. This is the way it's always going to be. Those authoritative types of rigid family structures, research shows the rate of abuse goes way up. The rate of abuse goes up. Why? Nobody talks in those systems because everybody knows they're not allowed to talk because you have this one dominating leader that controls everything. And in those kinds of systems, information can't come in to alter the system to make it healthy. Same time, the people within that system don't speak to those outside of it for fear of retribution, for fear of being hurt, for being shamed, for being punished. The other extreme is a family that's changing all the time. There is no structure. It's chaotic. It is overly chaotic. Who's in charge today? We don't really know because there's too much change. Healthy families have a measure of structure, and they have a measure of the ability to change, to be flexible. And finding that balance in flexibility in structure, finding the balance in connection and disconnection, independence versus dependence, learning interdependence is healthy. Another thing that healthy families do is they parents parent to the heart, not just the mind, but they parent to the heart. That means empathy and compassion rule the day. Not to the point that I have so much empathy and compassion for you, I let you continue to think in unhealthy ways or do stupid things. All right. That would be an unhealthy parent. Truth does speak up and speaks out for the things that you need to know that will help you in life. Let's be honest. If you're a healthy, mature parent, you're not going to let your kids think stupid thoughts. You're not going to let them believe things that aren't true. Well, that means as a parent, we have to correct those kinds of thinking. And more importantly, we teach them over time critical thinking skills. We let them know, hey, think that through. And then we show them how to think things through so they can make wise decisions for their lives when they become adults. And that's a powerful way of parenting because healthy families get involved. They're engaged. They communicate. They listen. They operate from compassion and empathy. And lastly, I would say it this way. In mature families, the parents who are in charge always seek to make sure these 4 questions are answered on a regular basis to their kids. And here they are. Number 1, they parent in such a way those kids know that they have value. They parent in such a way, which means they're treated in such a way that not only do they know they have value, that those kids know that they matter. And not only do they parent / treat their kids that they have value and that they know they matter, they also know that they're loved and lovable. It's got to be both. They got to know they're loved and lovable. And lastly, you parent or treat them in such a way that lets them know that they're not just existing on this world, in this world, that they're here for a purpose, that they have a purpose to fulfill, that God has put them here for some reason. And their job is to find that reason, to find that purpose, to find that calling, and go live in it. And here's what we know. When the parents are healthy, mature adults who love maturely, they will parent maturely. Those children will learn interdependence. They'll understand that there's a difference and a balance in independence and dependence. That there's a balance between chaos and structure. They got to learn we need to be flexible, but we got to have some structure, right? Got to have some rules, but sometimes those rules must change. And most importantly, those kids are treated in such a way that they know they have value, that they know they matter, they know they're loved and lovable, and they know and believe they have a purpose. Why? Because they were treated with love. They were treated with humility. They were treated with respect. They were treated with goodwill. What we call HREG, H equals REG in the Relate Well world. We believe it's a fundamental value system of living life from. Everything from humility, respect, empathy, and goodwill. And when HREG becomes a value system, you make your decisions based on that. Is what I want to do right now is a goodwill and is respectful. Is I do or say this, would it be caring? And if you say no, then you know for a fact you're moving into pride. If you say yes, it would be, you know you're in humility. Because humility increases respect, empathy, and goodwill, where pride increases disrespect, a lack of empathy, and ill will. So there's some thoughts for you. Traits of healthy families. Not all encompassing, but maybe enough as we enter into this holiday season for you to think about your family. And what do you want to create in your children, in your family? And let me say this to you. It's never too late to start. It really isn't. It's too late when you're dead, but it's never too late to start being the person God created you to be and desired you to be, so you can love on his behalf well. It's Dr. Rick Marks. I hope this has been helpful for you, and have a most wonderful day.